Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sanyukta Saxena, a certified Zentangle teacher, and today is the first session of a new series, Zentangle Ensembles. I've already posted a teaser on my Facebook page and Instagram. So in front of you is a set of 6 3Z tiles, triangular tiles, which when put together look like a beautiful piece of artwork, which are kind of related, yeah, because they make a complete artwork only when they are put together. So ensembles are basically tiles with a single string running through them, right? So when you put those tiles together, they look like a complete piece of artwork. Now the string may or may not be the same on all the tiles. It's basically one string continuously running through all the tiles, so that in such a way that if you put the tiles together, they look like a completed piece of work. In this ensemble, the string is the same. We have flux on both sides, and we have this crescent moon or the moon pie in one of the corners of the triangle tile. Yes, and that's how they make up a beautiful piece of work when the tiles are put together. So we are going to be doing some more of these ensembles during these upcoming sessions of this new series. So let's get started. For the purpose of these sessions, I'm going to be using my basic Zentangle tools like the black micron and the brown micron maybe, and the jelly rolls, the white charcoal pencil, some blending stubs, the graphite pencil. Yes, and if you want to introduce some colors like I have done here, you can either use your chalk pastels or your koi brush pens. Yes, so that is entirely your choice which kind of colors, or you can use your color pencils. Whatever is readily available with you, please go with that. If it is not available, then also it is fine. So let's get started with this session on ensembles. Yes. So I have a couple of 3Z tiles with me here, white tiles. So I'm going to pick 6 of them. So 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 6, right? And one way to do an ensemble, not necessarily the only way, is to draw a portion of a tangle on each of these tiles. Yes, so you have basically the tangle string running through all these tiles in such a way that when you put all the tiles together, the tangle looks complete. Otherwise, one tile has only one section of the tangle. Yes, so that would be an interesting thing to do. So let's get started. I'm going to start with a tangle called squill. Yes, and I'm using a bolder nib here because squill will involve a lot of inking, considerable amount of inking. So pick any part, any one corner of your tile, and then I'm going to start with a line like this. You can, for your reference, add a pencil line just to understand till where you have to draw the line. Yes, so that's one. And now I'm going to add a curve like this. That's how the tangle squill goes. Yes, and then I'm going to add another aura like this, probably take it till the end. Yes, and then I'm going to add double lines here and then add 2 more curves like this. Yes, so I'll show you once again what I have done. So pick the next tile. So approximately you have to limit all the petal shapes to the same size. So I'm just adding a reference line, something like this. Again, draw a line close to the edge, draw another line close to the edge, form a V, something like this. Yes, then draw one curve and draw another curve, then add an aura, something like this, then add 2 lines in between and then bring them down. Yes, so that's 2 tiles, and you can see how they would look like when you put them together. Yes, so let's do the same exercise for all the rest, that is 4 more tiles. So I am now doing the last one in exactly the same fashion. Add a line at the edges, draw a V, add two curves, petal shapes, add an aura like this, add two double lines in between, add one more set of petals. Yes, so once we are done with this exercise, I am still using my boulder nib. Next step is to ink. Now if you want to ink it black, please do that, else you can also introduce some colors. Yes, I'm going to keep it black. I will add color to the rest of my tile. This part of the tile, I'm going to keep it black. I like the drama that this tangle adds to the tile. The tangle is called Squill. So slowly take your time. If you have a brush pen handy, maybe you can use that also to ink these sections, since it's considerable inking, or you can use a graphic one. Probably I will use a graphic one here. So that's one tile after you have inked your squill. Yes, so I have switched to graphic one and I'm going to be doing the same exercise on all tiles. So take your time and slowly ink these petal shapes, half petal shapes that we have drawn, moon shapes, whatever you want to relate it to, and nicely ink these sections. So as I mentioned, when you are drawing an ensemble, you have a string running through a couple of tiles. The string may be the same for all the tiles, or you have a different string or one string kind of, running through more than one tiles in such a way that is important, that when they are put together, the tiles are put together, they look somewhat related due to the string or due to the tangles that they share. Yes, so that's the beauty of creating an ensemble. So I'm going to do it at my own pace. Take your time and do the inking. So I'm now doing the last tile, inking in exactly the same fashion, parts of the squill, the tangle that is running through all my triangular tiles. Originally these sections are inked as a part of the tangle squill because of the drama that it adds. However, as I mentioned, you can add color, you can add some other tangle inside it. That's perfectly fine and your choice. So take your time, ink at your own pace, ink it nicely, don't leave white sections. Yes, I'm going to be adding one more additional aura just to separate this part of my tangle, so that when I draw other tangles in the rest of the tile, this does not mix up. So just adding one more aura and closing this part of my squill. Take your time. Small little exercise that will help me separate my center tangle from the rest of the tile. Yes, so we have done that exercise. Now what I'm going to do is add some bit of color to the background before I start to tangle. Yes, so I'm going to be using some brush pen. Use any color of your choice and start to add that color in the background. So I'm going to be using some warm shades of orange and yellow. Yes, you can choose any shade of your choice. I'm just going to outline my tile with my brush pen. Alternatively, what you can do is just wet your tile first and just touch your brush pen over the tile, and you can get a similar effect. I'm just adding an outline where I want color. Yes, a little more extra before we go ahead and blend it. And then some bit of yellow, a little lighter shade there. Something like this. Yes, and now I'm just going to wet my water brush and start to blend. Yes, so if you think it is not wet enough, just wet it and blend it. Blend the color, add additional water if you find water brush is not wet enough, as I'm doing it here. So brush pens are basically water soluble pigment. So if you want, you can use the brush pen just like a watercolor panel. Blend it and you will get beautiful color. If you want these lines to be kind of blending well, then run your brush over them a little more so that they kind of blend with your tile. Yes, so that's a nice background that we have, a warm background. If you want, you can do the same colors for all your tiles, or you can change the colors. Yes, I'm going to be doing the same exercise for all my tiles. So I'm again starting with my orange. So now that all your tiles are ready and the color has dried up, now we have a couple of choices. Either we can do the same tangling in all these tiles, or we can do same tangling in 2 tiles in pairs, since we have 6 tiles here, or we can tangle differently on each of these tiles. So that is your choice. It's entirely your take. How do you want to go ahead? So what I'm going to do is take a midway. I'm going to add same tangle on 2 tiles. Yes, and then the next on 2 more, and then the third tangle on 2 more. So let's get started right away. I'm going to pick one tile and start with a tangle called Inella. Yes. So Indel is a tangle. I'm again using a little bolder nib, starting with a dot, adding some lines close to each other, and then reducing or diminishing the size of the lines after going halfway. A purely aura based tangle, Indel. Start drawing auras, increase the size and then diminish the size. It's not necessary that you have to fill up the entire tile. We shall see how much do we want to tangle. If you want to keep a part of the tile empty, that's perfectly fine. It's a beautiful color. You might want to show it too. Yes. So drawing the first tangle, that is Indel, starting with a dot, drawing some slightly curved auras close to each other, trying to be equidistant, and then diminishing the size. Take your time, one stroke at a time, go slow. Enjoy the process. That is all that matters as far as Zentangle is concerned. The end result is always good. Yes, so I'm going to continue like this, add some more. Probably one or more. I want some of the background empty. Yes. And I think one last here. Yeah, I will leave it here and I'll do exactly the same on one more tile. Yeah. Two of my tiles I have added the tangle Indel. If you want, you can add some black pearls or bubbles, something like this. One orb, another orb, and a small weight on one side of the inner orb. But that's entirely your choice. You may or may not. Yes. So those are two of my tiles. Moving on to the next, let's draw some nice and flowy mukas. Yes, so I'm going to start right away. Add some random mukas. Inferred. Not thinking much how, what. Wherever I find space. Drawing behind. Take your time. Again, keeping a part of the tile empty. Drawing behind. Small ones, big ones. Take your time. Draw the way you wish to. Some nice and flowy mukas. Drawing behind. And I think that should be sufficient. And we will add a little more as we go further. Let us first add the same on one more tile. Take your time. Enjoy the strokes. The beautiful pods, the heads. Yes. So I'm going to be adding a few more. Draw at your own pace. No hurry. Draw the way you wish to. 。 . 。  . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . let us move to our next. If you want, you can at the same time just switch your pen to a finer nib and insert some tipples. So I'm just going to add a little bit of rounding and add some tipples, some bit of extra ink here and there, and some tipples. Take your time. Yes. Like this. So some bit of rounding and some tipple. Sorry for that. So wherever you feel like. Yes. So I'm going to do exactly the same on this one also. Add some bit of rounding and some tipples. So coming now to the last two tiles, I'm just going to add some orbs or jetties. Yes, so use your bolder nib or you can use your finer nib, whichever nib you want to use, and adding some orbs. Again, it is up to you. You want to cover the entire space or you can want to leave some of the tile empty. That's entirely your choice. So those are some orbs. I'm going to do the same on this tile also. Drawing behind, not drawing complete orbs. Wherever I can, I'm drawing behind and of course leaving some spaces empty also. Yes, so now I'm going to use again switch pens and use a finer nib and create some beautiful jetties, tangulations. You need not ink. If you want to ink, you can always go ahead and ink this band. Probably I will ink a few and add different patterns in some of the others. Take your time. Yes, so done with one, and I'll do exactly the same exercise here also. Create a band. If you want, you can decorate the entire orb with different tangles, just like moon pies. Even that is possible. So draw these overlapping orbs just like the way we draw for jetties. Keep changing the direction of the bands preferably. Something like this. And now I'm going to go ahead and add some tangles inside. So you can add any tangle of your choice. You can add simple lines, you can add orbs, you can add printums, you can add Knightsbridge. Choose any tangle of your choice. You can add Duda, you can add Shattuck, whatever you feel like. Take your time. Yes, probably some bit of Knightsbridge. Some Shattuck. Whatever you want to draw. We can repeat a few. Take your time. Yes. So we are done with our tangling. Let us now move on to shading. So let's use the graphite. Starting first with jetties, I'm going to add some shadow on one side of my jetties. So since you have a colored background, you have the opportunity to use both your graphite and your white chalk. So use that opportunity to shade. First adding graphite. Blend. Make sure inked portions have dried up. Highlight the overlaps. Yes. Carefully blend the graphite. Take it to about half of your jetties, but not beyond. Highlight the overlaps. The remaining half, the other half, use your white chalk. Use a different blending stub to soften the chalk. I'm just using my fingers here. So I'm adding some white chalk on the other half of my jetties where I have not added graphite. Go to each Highlight the other side. Wherever possible. Yes, so that's our jetties. The in-between spaces, if you want, you can insert some very tiny tipples. Something like this. Inserting some really tiny tipples. Take your time. Very small spaces, you can even go ahead and ink. Yes, so one tile is ready. I'm going to be doing exactly the same on the other tile on which I've drawn jetties. Yes, this tile. So I'm done with shading my jetties on both the tiles. I've added some tipple in between spaces. Yes, however, I've not filled in the entire space with tipple. Moving on next to our Indel tiles. Again, we have to add both graphite and white chalk. So restrict the graphite to the lower part of your Indel. Go to each. Add graphite to the lower part of the Indel. Blend it carefully. Do not make the entire thing gray. Blend. Take it to about half of your Indel, the graphite. Once you're done with that, now go use your white chalk and add to the other half of your Indel. Like this. Yes. Take your time. Use a different blending stub to soften the chalk. The bubbles, you just need to add a little bit of shadow underneath, probably not much. Yes, I will do exactly the same on this one also. Last but not the least are these mukas. So add that C shape inside those pods. Blend it. Slowly go to each. Soften the graphite. You can also add touches of white to the other part of your mocha where you have not added graphite. A slight touch will make them pop up. Like this. You can also add touches on the bigger orbs if you want. Yes, I'm going to add some nice fescues here and there inside my mukas. Gives it a nice and fragile look. Something like these, as many as you wish. Yes, I will do exactly the same on this one also. Adding some fescues as I did on my previous style also. That's about it. Yes, now coming last to our center tangle, which is the squill, I'm just going to add some white chalk like this as a highlight. Yes, use a different blending stub and just soften it, blend it. Like this. Yes, I will do exactly the same for all. Add highlight with my white chalk. Soften it. Yes. So I've added shading to all my squill. Time to arrange the tangles. So I'm going to arrange them just like an ensemble. And the last two. The tangle squill in the center. The string running through 6 tiles. Yes. So that's how our ensemble looks like. The beautiful tangle squill in the center and some other tangles used on the rest of the tile. Yes, that's a beautiful example of how a single tangle can be distributed among different tiles, running like a string from one tile to the other, and when you put all those tiles together you create a beautiful piece of work. Yes, I shall see you again with some more of such sessions. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.